New tonight, a Bellevue teen is back in jail after a First Alert 6 investigation revealed startling behavior while on probation. The young man allegedly pointed a gun at a conservation officer, which started a high-speed pursuit.
As Mike McKnight tells us, one lawman believes the defendant has shown the need for more intense supervision.
Out of one jail on a low bond, Wyatt Belita is headed to another.
You want to say, Wyatt?
For alleged probation violation.
Right now, the job comes to law enforcement, communicate with probation and make sure that he's being supervised appropriately as a team. But we're going to continue to try to ring the bell with pretrial release supervision.
While riding a motorcycle recklessly in Two River State Park on May 31st, Belita allegedly pulled this gun and pointed it at a Nebraska conservation officer driving behind him. That initiated a pursuit and arrest in a cornfield. A Douglas County judge set his bond at 10% of $10,000. Not high enough is the opinion of County Attorney Don Klein.
We'll have to even push harder to ensure the community and law enforcement that we get a high enough bond to keep this person where they belong.
Back to jail, not in Douglas, but Sarpy County, after the Metro Fugitive Task Force arrested Belita for allegedly violating terms of probation. He'd been convicted of misdemeanor flight to avoid arrest in Sarpy County just weeks before allegedly pointing a gun and then leading a conservation officer on a pursuit in Douglas County.
You turn around and point a gun at a law enforcement officer and you know he is one. That's pretty serious.
Yeah, that law enforcement officer could have been killed, or that young man could have lost his life had that law enforcement officer decided that his life was in danger and he needed to fire his own weapon.
In the affidavit for the violation of probation warrant, the probation officer states that Wyatt Belita puts the safety of himself and the community at risk. Prosecutors in Sarpy County are sure to make that known to a judge at the next bond setting for the 19-year-old. In Sarpy County, Mike McKnight, First Alert 6.
Mike's investigation found a day after Belita's release on bond from Douglas County Corrections, a Sarpy County probation officer searched Belita's bedroom and found multiple weapons. The affidavit didn't describe those weapons. Meantime, an update to a